Rain pattered against the window of an old, dimly lit apartment. Dane ran a hand through his short, messy hair, staring at the document on his screen. The words were clear. Marriage contract approved. Partner, Princess Vailari of the Elzery Dominion. Just sign it, Dane, his friend Oren muttered from across the room, sipping a cheap beer. It's a once-in-a-lifetime chance. You know how many humans get chosen? Dane sighed. He wasn't desperate to marry, let alone to an alien princess he had never met. But life on Earth had grown tough. The economic struggles, the lack of opportunities. When the Elzery first proposed interspecies unions to strengthen diplomatic ties, most people thought it was a joke. Now, thousands of humans were applying just for a chance at a better future. Unlike them, Dane hadn't applied. His name had been selected through some obscure process. Some Elzery tradition, he was told. He had no choice but to accept, or risk angering a species far more advanced than humanity. So here he was, hours away from departing Earth, signing a contract that would bind him to a woman he had never met. The Elzery were mysterious. They were taller than humans, their luminous skin shifting in soft hues depending on their emotions. Some said they were breathtaking, others said their appearance was unsettling. No one could agree. But few had actually seen them up close. Dane signed the contract. His life was no longer his own. The journey to the Elzery homeworld was brief, almost impossibly so. One moment, he was in a transport ship, the next. He stood in an opulent chamber of violet and gold, surrounded by Elzery nobles. The ceremony was brief. A strange, lilac mist swirled in the air as a veil-covered figure stood before him. Princess Vailari. She did not speak, but when he touched her outstretched hands, a sudden warmth flooded through him. It was like an unspoken connection, something deep in his bones. Then, the ceremony was over, and Dane was officially married to an alien princess. Dane followed silently as the attendants guided him through winding halls. The architecture felt surreal, walls that shimmered like liquid, lights that pulsed like stars. Everything here was alive, almost breathing. Finally, they stopped before a massive, intricately carved door. One of the attendants turned to him. "This is your shared chamber. The princess awaits." Dane swallowed hard. He had no idea what to expect. The Elzery were enigmatic, their traditions unknown to him. His heart pounded as the door slid open. Inside, the room was vast, draped in ethereal silks that shifted in color like a sunset. A soft glow filled the space, casting shadows that danced. And in the center, his wife. Vailari sat at the edge of the grand bed, her veil still in place. He stepped forward. "Princess?" She hesitated, then reached up, fingers trembling slightly. And then, she lifted the veil. Dane froze. His breath caught. She was stunning, but not in any way he had expected. Her eyes, large and glowing with a deep violet hue, held an almost hypnotic beauty. Her skin, smooth and opalescent, reflected the light in shimmering colors. But what shocked him most, her face bore delicate, intricate markings that pulsed faintly, shifting with emotion. She was otherworldly, almost divine in appearance. But that wasn't what sent a shiver through him. It was her wings, translucent, folded against her back, their edges dusted with a soft, celestial glow. They unfurled slightly, shimmering in the light, like something out of a dream. Dane had heard nothing about the Elzery having wings. He couldn't find the words. She studied him for a moment, then whispered, "Does my form frighten you?" There was vulnerability in her voice, something he hadn't expected. "No," he said, stepping closer, his voice softer now. "You're beautiful." Her wings twitched at his words, and he swore the markings on her skin brightened. The days that followed were strange but not unpleasant. Vailari was not what he expected. She was gentle, curious about human customs, and despite her regal presence, she had a quiet warmth that made Dane feel at ease. Their conversations grew longer each night. She told him of her people, their traditions, their ways of bonding. The Elzery didn't form relationships as humans did. Their emotions were shared, their connections something almost spiritual. One evening, she hesitated before asking, "Do humans truly bond with only words? Only actions?" Dane tilted his head. "What do you mean?" She stepped closer, lifting a delicate hand to his chest. "We feel. We connect on a deeper level. I do not yet know your heart, but—" Her glowing eyes met his. "I wish to." A warmth spread through him at her touch. It was unlike anything he had felt before, like an unspoken emotion blooming between them. He reached up, gently brushing his fingers against hers. "Then, let's learn about each other. Together." Her wings fluttered, and for the first time, she smiled. Weeks passed, and their bond deepened. Dane no longer saw her as just an alien princess, she was his wife. One night, as they stood on a balcony overlooking the glowing expanse of the Elzery capital, Vailari turned to him. "I have something to show you." She extended her hands, and as he took them, a soft, golden glow surrounded them. And then, he saw through her eyes. Memories, emotions, feelings, everything she felt, everything she had experienced since meeting him, it all flooded into him. He saw her first impression of him, her cautious hope, the quiet admiration as they spent time together, the warmth she felt in his presence. And then, one overwhelming feeling, love. His breath caught. "Vailari, I." The connection faded as she looked at him, searching his expression. "Do you understand now?" He did. She had already fallen for him. Dane let out a slow breath, then reached up, cupping her face gently. "I understand," he whispered. "And I feel the same." Her glowing markings flared, her wings quivering slightly. Then, as he leaned in, her lips met his in a kiss that was both alien and entirely human. A marriage once bound by fate had become something more. A love that transcended worlds.